Ranking Member, Senator Biden.
I want to try to ask a couple very specific questions, and if you help me by giving as quick an answer as you could. Mr. Bolton, what are your working assumptions on the cost side for the rest of 03 and for 04 for Iraq?
For the rest of 03, Senator Biden, on the cost side, our working assumptions are those that Ambassador Bremer has brought back to us. He's anticipating expenditures in the range for the total of 03 of about $7.3 billion. And
how much will you be requesting for the remainder of the year, if any, from the United States Congress to fund that need?
We don't anticipate requesting anything additional for the balance of this year.
And what do you anticipate for 04?
I don't know the answer to that. Ambassador Bremer has laid out a reasonably specific budget for the balance of 03, and I think he had an opportunity to discuss that with you. But even that was relatively crude because of they're just getting a handle on so many of the variables that are in play right now.
You anticipate we'll be continuing to spend $4 billion a month for our troops in Iraq for 04?
That's roughly what we're spending now. Looking out over the immediate term, we don't have any reason to expect a dramatic change in that number. But I wouldn't want to predict beyond the next couple of months because the situation is so variable.
Don't you have to? I mean, we're talking about the 04 budget. We're going to be voting on that in the next couple months. What the devil are you going to ask us for?
Well, in the 04 budget, and Senator, as you know, we've been very explicit about it. We have not included the incremental costs of our fighting forces in Iraq, nor the costs of reconstruction. So
why?
Simply because we don't know what they will be.
Oh, come on now. Does anybody here at the table think we're going to be down below 100,000 forces in the next calendar year? Raise your hand, any one of you. You know it's going to be more than that. So you know at least it's going to be $2.5 billion a month. Give me a break, will you? When are you guys starting to be honest with us? Come on. I mean, this
Senator,
is ridiculous.
to suggest that this is an issue of honesty really is very...
It is a suggestion
it is very misleading.
Of candor. You know there's going to be at least 100,000 American forces there for the next calendar year.
Senator,
and you're
I don't
not
know,
asking us for
I
any
don't know
money.
what
Let me
we're
finish,
going to have
please.
there.
Let me finish.
Okay.
And you are not asking us for any money in next year's budget for those troops. Now, what do you call that?
Senator, there will be a supplemental request. There is no question about that. And there will be a supplemental request when we think we can make a reasonably good estimate of what will get us through the whole year. So that we won't have to keep coming up here with one supplemental request after another. So I don't sit here and say, well, maybe the number is going to be 100,000, and then it turns out it's 120,000, and then people accuse us of being misleading or dishonest.
Well, I think
we know what the number is now. We know what we're trying to do in terms of enlisting other countries. We don't know whether the PACs are going to come through with a division. We don't know whether the Turks are going to come through with a division. We don't know how rapidly we're going to be able to train Iraqis.
Are you suggesting if, in fact, they come through with divisions, we're going to reduce American forces?
I believe that that's exactly the purpose of getting foreign troops in. In fact, in southern Iraq today, we are handing responsibility for key provinces of Iraq over to the Poles and the Spaniards and the Italians, and we're taking Marines out. We're not replacing them with Americans.
So we're going to have a net reduction of American forces for
I'm not predicting, Senator. I don't know. Until we get these Ba'athist criminals under control, we're going to put in whatever it takes to do the job. But we are trying to get other people to fill in for us. We're trying to get Iraqis to fill in for us. And I think by the end of the year, early next year, we'll have a much better fix on what it takes to get through the year.
Do you have any expectation that you're going to be able to stand up an Iraqi army of any consequence in the next 6 months?
There are two different things here, and thanks for giving me the chance to explain it. We're working on training an Iraqi army, which is a 2 to 3 year project to produce regular units, lots of training, lots of discipline. You don't need that kind of an army to guard fixed power lines. You don't need that kind of an army to take over from Marines guarding hospitals. You don't need that kind of an army to guard banks.
That's the civilian defense force.
The civilian defense force, we believe we can have thousands of those people available within about 45 days. That's
within 45 days. And how about the police?
The police, we're standing up rapidly. And as you noted correctly at the police academy, they're not all equally good. I visited a group down in Basra that still are struggling. But up north in Kirkuk, for example, the Iraqi police have taken over the whole function.
The Iraqi police have taken over, well, okay. I find this kind of incredible. The picture you painted is, are there any substantive changes of consequence you are recommending to the President, or is everything going along as planned? You kind of got everything on course here, and everything's pretty well in hand. I mean, you told us about how the military says we're well ahead of where we were in Bosnia, and are you happy with where we are right now?
Senator, I'm not happy with where we are right now, and if there's any way to accelerate anything, we're looking at it. We're looking at how to accelerate training Iraqis. I've talked about that at some length. We're looking at emergency ways of accelerating electric power production. Some of that is already underway. I believe the reason we were able to get the oil production up over 1 million barrels a day was because we brought in portable generators to provide electricity. That's the kind of thing.
The report called for, what, 5,000 of those? Are they up, 550 diesel-driven emergency generators to be installed? Are they up and running?
I don't know. I can check that for the record. I don't know the detail. But that is an example of where we're looking at acceleration. We're looking at acceleration in some non-military areas. For example, up north, one of the big issues is so-called de-Arabization. A lot of Kurds and some Turks were moved out of their homes in a kind of slow-motion ethnic cleansing, and Arabs were moved in. The Arabs would be happy to leave, but it's going to take some money and some legal efforts to do that. We'd like to get that started more quickly than was originally planned. Your point, Senator, which I agree with, is there's a window of opportunity here. I can't measure how long it is, but I do believe that the sooner we move within that window, the better off we'll be further out in the future, and that money invested now, even if it's not quite efficient, will save us a lot of money in the long run. And money invested on the civil side can help bring down that $4 billion a month that we're currently spending on our troops.
My time's up, but I'm confused. General Myers, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, said if we get these 30,000 additional foreign troops, that it will not be enough for us to reduce our military in Iraq for months, possibly years. And he said we need more than 30,000, and even that. I don't get you guys. I mean, Myers says that. You're telling me we get these additional troops, we're going to draw down American troops.
Can I respond to that, Senator?
Sure.
The two pacing items that involve U.S. troop commitment is one, obviously, is the level of violence and the security situation we're currently facing. We have to get that down. And the second thing is the involvement of multinational forces and also the Iraqis themselves, the civil defense forces that the Deputy Secretary mentioned, and also the Iraqi Army and police forces. Those are our pacing items. And General Abizaid, when he looks to the future, does not want to look beyond March. But even with looking towards March, what he sees is definitely 2 multinational divisions, probably by the end of September, and the possibility of a third that hasn't been committed yet, but the State Department and Defense Department is working with that. If that does happen, that will reduce U.S. commitment by 1 division and also 1 brigade. And we're moving very quickly, obviously, to get the Iraqis to do more for themselves, to help defend their own people. And that's in its embryonic stages. As those 2 items, the level of violence, multinational division participation, and also the Iraqis themselves will see us reduce the U.S. troop commitment.
These forces are nowhere, and I'd be interested to see about your civilian force. But anyway, I thank you.